So I want us to notice that it's
lọ́jọ́kọ́jọ́ làbẹ̀wò kúkú dùkú lóko Podium International wọ́n ti wà tipẹ́tipẹ́ látìgbà tí wọ́n ti ń bàbọ̀ wọn ò fìgbà kan tẹ́rì o wọ́n ti wá ṣe bẹ̀bẹ̀ wọ́n ti gbé bẹ̀bẹ̀ dé Podium Cinema ni wọ́n tún gbé dé Podium Cinema lórí YouTube ẹ fọ́lọ̀ wọn kẹ́ ẹ láìkì wọn kẹ́ ẹ subscribe ibẹ̀ lẹ́tì mọ̀ wọ àwọn àjẹ́ àbálẹ̀ fíìmù ẹ̀dọ̀kí fíìmù tó léfò gan tààrà Podium Cinema mo bẹ́rí fún yín fíìmù mẹ́sàn-án ọ̀tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀ ni wọ́n kó jáde o àwọn gbàǹkọ́gbé fíìmù èkíní májẹ̀mú ẹ̀gbọ́n èkejì my wet ẹ̀kẹta ọmọ ẹni ẹ̀kẹrin àlàmú èkó ẹ̀karùn-ún àìmọ̀ ṣẹ̀wárí pé nǹkan kì í ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ràgó ó kọjá bẹ́ẹ̀ eléyìí lẹ́ti kẹjù èdè Yorùbá ni wọ́n fi ṣe àwọn fíìmù yìí ẹlẹ́ẹ̀kẹfà sẹ́ẹ̀kẹsàn-án èdè òyìnbó ni wọ́n kọ́ ẹ̀kẹfà tẹ́mà èkeje the casting ẹ̀kẹjọ M1 the detective ẹ̀kẹsàn 100 M1 the detective at 100 orí síríìsì lẹ́fì máa wò ó ìyẹn dàgbéléwò nìyẹn Podium International Podium Cinema ẹ fọ́lọ̀ wọn kẹ́ ẹ láìkì wọn lórí YouTube wọ́n wà lórí Facebook wọ́n wà lórí Instagram Podium Cinema ó ti dọbẹ̀ ẹ subscribe.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, boys and girls. Welcome to another episode of Dear Parents. And trust me, I'm happy to see you guys today. With me today is my amazing co-host, Zainab. Hello, Zainab. And
Hello.
Today we have an amazing guest. His name is Mr. Adeniji Ayodeji. He's a counselor, and today he's ready to dissect these questions and give us answers. We have another female. We have a guest for the youth, but she will join us as the show goes by. So today, our topic for today is why can't my parents support me to marry a married man? Yes, you heard me right. That's what I said. Yes, that's the topic that a youth has to ask today. So, why can't my parents support me to marry a married man? Zainab, because you're the youth, you're the one representing the youth. Oh, all hail the youth. So please, why are you people thinking of marrying a married man? Yes. Zainab, I'm expecting you to say something.
So because we are youth doesn't mean that we have a collective. Can you hear me? So
Yes, I
because
can
we
hear you
are
properly.
youth doesn't mean that we have like a collective ideology. We are youth, but we don't think the same way. So a youth obviously asks this question, and I personally didn't, but there are facts towards like marrying someone that is married. They're actually facts. So it's not like based on personal feelings or based on personal, it's not really based on personal feelings anymore. So now we have to argue towards the facts, the real. So as we go into the show, I will definitely bring the facts. But that doesn't mean like personally I would do it.
So, Mr. Deniji, today's question, I know this question is not out of the ordinary. It's something that comes to people's mind, and this is a youth asking this question. We're like, oh, a letter to your parents, and this is the letter she sent. Oh, so I'm going to paint the scenario. So I'm sure she has walked up to her mom and dad and says, oh, mom and dad, I found somebody I want to get married to, but he's a married man, and they said no. And now she's upset. So Mr. Ayodeji, I'm your child. I walk up to you and I tell you this. What reply do you have for me?
Well, first of all, I would like to thank you very much for the opportunity given to me
Thank
to
you,
be
sir, for
on this
honoring our
wonderful
invite.
program today.
Thank you.
And I so bless the name of the Lord.
Amen.
And for this question, actually, when I was approached with it, the first thing I did was to exclaim, like, is that possible? Then suddenly something came to my mind while we're having the discussion, and that is, well, I remember as a teenager those days, we do watch a program on TV in Nigeria called I Need to Know. So I guess our youth need to know they need questions and they need answers to many questions that comes across their mind. And if my child should approach me, I guess the first thing I would do is, well, to be surprised, astonished, and at the same time, I need to maintain my calm. And if possible, no, normally what I do is just I just keep quiet because I wouldn't like to take action immediately. I might react in the wrong way. Then after I'm taking my calm and I've reminisced over the whole thing, the next thing I would need to do is to now call the child. I want to know why she would want to marry a married man. Okay? Because once she bear her mind, then I will know from what angle. Maybe it's due to peer pressure. Maybe it is a thing that is trending amongst youth now. Or maybe it's as a fallout of this issue of sugar daddy thing that we have today. And maybe it's just something like, youth these days like to cash cruise. So it might be as a result of, well, just cashing cruise, and then I will now need to sit down with the child and give her the necessary information and the nitty-gritty that she needs to know about um, the union or marriage and the setting, the family settings, and what it all entails. Looking at it from the point of view of what the society thinks marriage should be, as we have it today, and then the originator and the creator himself that established marriage from the beginning, looking at it from the point of view of his blueprint, and letting my child to know, giving her the opportunity to have all the options on the table, and I will allow her to make her choice based on the information. See, sometimes when we don't really have a full understanding of what a thing is, why is an object, we tend to go towards abusing that. So there is a need to give information why the child is asking that question and issues that are arising within her mind, to try to resolve them while I give the information needed to help her in that situation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. So, so now, sir, so I'm going to say something, and this question, we're not asking this question from a religious aspect, because I don't know, we do not even know the person's religion, and
Okay.
we have religions that accept more than one wife, so we cannot go through the religious. Now we're going through the moral aspect. And Zainab, this question is for you.
Okay.
What do you think would push a youth in a tender age to decide to settle with a married man? So me, I would say, you know that. So now the thing is, the trend that we've experienced back to back is a lot of the younger men that we have now are not even ready or committed to getting married. So would it be a case of she's ready for marriage and there's no young man to marry her? Or is it a case of, oh, this older man takes good care of me? How did you even start dating an older man in the first place? So what do you think would lead a young lady to decide to settle for a married man?
Well, firstly, I was going to say that there's no way we talk about this person and we won't argue based on moral grounds, religious grounds. So we can't really take religion out of this. It has to come in. But we know the fact that we don't know this person's religion. Yes, but it doesn't mean that this thing can't work in religious perspective, depending on her religion. So I would, based on the question you asked now, which is based on moral. So what is good, what is bad? Definitely, you don't know what is bad, for this person. Personally, you know what is good, you know what is bad. But as this person said, oh, this is what I want to do. You don't know whether it's good for her, you don't know whether it's bad for her. So what could push her to want to marry a married man. So different youth, different upbringing, different life, different things they've gone through in life to want to do this kind of thing. So firstly, I would say probably because of our upbringing. It might have been in a family where um there were, other wives, and our dad married other wives. So like even though it happened in that situation, and for her mother is still not doing anything, she knows the consequences of that action. But she lived in that household, she grew in that household, and she felt like there's nothing wrong with it. So that could be a reason over how you report on. And also it could be like what Mr. Adeyemi said, it could be peer pressure. Nowadays, I want to feel amazing. I want to, I want to be the biggest girl. And like everybody knows that to marry, if you want to marry, it has to be.
So I think Zainab's network interrupted her there. So till she gets the network back, Mr. Adedeji, when you said peer pressure, would do people take peer pressure all the way through marriage? That's like another level of cruise.
Well, yes, it could be. We can't rule out peer pressure, no doubt. We can't rule out peer pressure because everyone has his own peer. Even the parents have their peer, and we are influenced by what we see others do. So, as humans, that are social being that we are, we cannot rule out the fact that, well, I love what my neighbor does, and because she's doing well with it, I think I can also dive into that direction to want to be like her. And then humans, we cannot also rule out the fact that people tend to idolize a particular person or people that are important to them in their life, either directly or indirectly. So peer pressure is something that is an important integral part of an individual growing up. And for a young lady and for a youth, definitely that is one thing that they lay emphasis on and is more important to them than any other thing, especially as they get to teenage life and then move on to their twins. Be that as it may, society, the dictates and the trending things in society also want to look at the lifestyles that the celebrities live because most of the celebrities are seen as idol. And whatever they say and do, and the children tends to want to imbibe it because they feel they are like a yardstick, a standard through which society look at what is expected of them. Of course, this may not necessarily be true. Every child should be able to take the parent, okay, the home where he or she comes from, particularly the lady, want to ask herself, if I had to go to marry a man and become a second wife to that person, have I ever seen that with my mom? Did my mom ever have to have a rival at home? Now, if she wants to learn from experience, I always say something to those young people I counsel. Never you expose yourself to situations where you will experience things in the hard way, where you have negative experiences. And so, if the parent or the mother never had such, so where is she coming from? Where is she coming from? Is she coming from the fact that, well, I've seen my friend did it and they are successful about it? Then on the angle of morality, well, we can't rule away religion, and thank God we recognize at the beginning that there are religions that do accept it. And since it's not from the angle of religion we are looking at it, socially, I would love a situation where a child, a young person, do not get to be dissuaded away from infatuations. Perhaps the young man or the young lady is infatuated towards the man. The married man perhaps might be having a problem at home and he needs someone that could listen to him, someone that he could bear his mind with, which is only going to be a temporary thing. And maybe the young lady is just infatuated by that and felt, well, this man seems to be in love with me. Well, may I announce to you and then bust your bubble that perhaps you are ready to see yourself as a spare tire, because it's only when we need a spare tire that we remember is in the boot.
in the
That
book.
we remember that okay, this thing needs to be put to use. The moment the man comes out of the doldrum, the challenges he's having presently in his marriage, then you are not you can't find yourself in a situation where you'll be a second fiddle. Are you ready to answer the following question? Are you ready to be a rival to another person? Two, do you want to live the rest of your life in a competitive environment? Do you want to see yourself as a spare tire where a man will only use and dump, and whenever he's in need again, probably because he's caught somewhere and needed to lay his shoulder, his head on another shoulder, and he finds you being naive, in readiness to listen
Uh,
without
say,
argument, then it comes to you. But the moment things are okay at home, then you are forgotten until he needs you again.
thank you very much, sir. Thank you. So Zainab, we're sorry that you had your a bit of network glitch. So please continue. But were you able to hear what Mr. Ayodeji said?
So
Is this
I
okay?
was, yes. So I was talking based on background upbringing. So I would like to make an example, which is very vivid. She's a public figure. So she married someone else's husband, literally, and she has a daughter. So in that situation, like the daughter can literally say what the mother is doing, and she feels like, oh, there's nothing wrong with it. My mother did it. That's supposed to be the kind of life. So my mother, there's nothing is wrong with it, and she's fine. She's living okay. So why can't I do it as a person? So your upbringing and also matter peer pressure, like I said, like people get married, mom, you have a peer pressure. That oh, my age, I'm already 30 years old, I'm already 29, a certain age, I'm not getting married. And then, you just get married to the wrong person based on peer pressure. So it also applies to getting married to someone else. They don't mind literally. I just want to get married. I don't care who he is, what he does, he has a family or not, peer pressure, vibe, that kind of thing. So yeah, and I would like to talk on the fact that we as people, we don't know what is right or what is wrong for this person. Like, that could literally be like the person she loves, and in certain situations, that could be someone that would make her happy. And there are people, let's not lie, there are people that literally get married to someone else's husband, and their life is sweet, their life is good, nothing is wrong with them. So I just feel like it's based on your life and also the reason why you decide to do it. Some people they have like a life experience. Like, everything is not good, everything is not so sweet. People have had life experiences that that was their only option. They had no other to marry someone else's husband. So I have like this scenario based on the peer pressure. She was like, that age when she just felt like she's gonna have to get married. And she married someone else's husband, and then she's living fine. Nothing is wrong with her, that kind of situation. So I was going to say something to based on religion. Fine, we don't know this person's religion. We don't know, but we still have to add the fact that is there. That I just feel like it is something that God gives permission to in that religion. If you are Muslim, Islam permits you to marry more than one wife. You try. So, like in a fact, if God can permit someone to marry more than one wife, so like it's literally not the mother's permission that matters. There's no a personal feeling. You cannot respect God and permission. And also, I would like to say because some people they like to pick and choose the religion. They like to pick and choose. So this person would have pick this and say, okay, I'm not the other. That means you have to follow all the rules of Islam. You want to you want to that if you want to do this, you have to follow all the rules. So if you are the kind of person that follows the rules, do everything, then that's not a problem for you. You usually marry more than one wife. And the person that marries you, this girl, this woman that marries you, it's not a problem. That kind of thing. I don't know if she's a Christian or Muslim, but just like my mother, that literally your mother doesn't give permission to marry this person, then she's disobeying God's order. That's what that people are. as far as you have to take care of your wife, there are rules and regulations. You don't treat your wife badly and then you want to marry somebody else. There are rules and regulations. You usually have to treat them equally, give them so much love, you know. But if you cannot do that and you're not going to marry another person. So yeah, these are the things that means and say, oh, I want to marry someone from that. So your life experience is different. So yeah, that's just it.
Okay, so guys, this is Dear Parents. For those that are just joining, welcome to Dear Parents. Today's topic is, why can my parents support me to marry a married man? And Mr. Ayodeji has he said something that I can't take over my head. Cruise. I don't know. That's like cruise extraordinary if somebody is cruising to marriage. And Zainab has said that it might just be for happiness and all. So to Zainab and to Mr. Ayodeji, don't you guys think it might even be money? It might be about money. It might be the man's wealth that is attracting her. Because so the thing is now, it's beyond this person's particular question, but we have a lot of young girls out there that have this notion, and this person might be doing it from a place of, oh, it makes me happy, oh, I find peace in this person. But we have a lot of like, so there's the sugar daddy quotes, and everybody knows that sugar daddy comes from the sugar they are getting from the daddy,
Yeah.
and that sugar is money, regardless of however we want to paint it. That sugar is money in any day, anytime. So that kind of person that already has a sugar daddy notice might decide to just want to husband this sugar daddy. That okay, instead of getting a bit of the sugar, let me get the full sugar. And also, this question is not for this person that sent it, because now this show is to educate a lot of people. This person is bold, that's why she has brought out her own questions. But there are some people that
Mhm.
have it in their mind and their notion is totally wrong. They want to get married to a married man for the wrong reasons, for the wrong reasons entirely. So that's why I'm asking again, Mr. Ayodeji and Zainab,
Yes.
do you think it's about money? Could it be about money? Mr. Ayodeji, you first.
Yes, thank you very much once again, and I appreciate what my other guests have said concerning and the experience which she shared. And sincerely speaking, the issue of marriage is not a child's play, and then definitely there are many factors that comes to play when it comes to issues of marriage. Okay, and the marriage has to be on the file. And so when we look at it from the point of view of what is the reason, yes, like I said from the beginning, I would need to sit down after I've calmed down myself, be able to reason together with the child that brought the question up and try to want to probe and know what her mindset is as to reason why she feels she should do that. What is prompting her to want to do that? Just like, should I go into drug because others are doing it? Or does drug benefit me? Or is it because it is prescribed to society? Having said that, marriage, for the child that would want to go into it because of the issue of money, sugar daddy thing. And that is one thing that is common in society today, and like everybody does it. That everybody does it doesn't make it to be right. And that's one important thing that youth, young people have to know and understand. That everybody or celebrities are doing it. Society accepts it and doesn't frown at it, doesn't make it to be right. I always counsel and advise young ladies there's a need for them to build up a profession for themselves, to build up their own financial backbone by helping to train, get themselves acquire skills that will make them to be financially independent. So perhaps maybe the young lady in question, if it is for money's sake, might have some fundamental issues, and we need to look at her background to know if the root, the foundation is on money. And money is not a good foundation itself. You know, when the foundation is destroyed, there is nothing we can do than to call on God. But then Having said that, if it is on money, then it may be a journey in the wrong direction, because what you're looking for, the man that needs your attention now, a man is a go-getter. And once he gets what he wants, of course, the next thing is putting the wife in quote, let me just borrow that word, in the house, and then he goes on to achieve some other goal. Give it to you at that particular point in time that is able to use you as a spare tire while you are outside, and now he's brought you in, you won't get that attention again, because he would want to give attention to something else, and then you will be at a loss. As a lady, you want emotion, you want attention, you want to be the center of attention. But then the man now has divided attention, and that is true. Then, two, if you have to look at it from this point of view, morally speaking, loyalty and faithfulness. Infidelity is what I see in this situation. If it is not a religious thing that is required, okay? Infidelity, because the man that is going all out for you while you are not married and he is married, definitely will find himself doing the same thing over and over again when you are married to. And are you ready to face such situation where, haven't been allowed to come in into another woman's home, that you also allow another lady, maybe in about 2 years' time or 3 years' time, to come into your own home also? And what you would not love others to do for you, do not attempt to do for another person. So I would want the child, I will put all the cards on the table for the child. Look at it, let's look at the pros and the cons. Then allow she as an adult, because I believe whoever is asking that question perhaps is of marriage age and then is matured enough. So seeing yourself in that light in the next 3, 4 years, what do you want to make out of that marriage? Are you going to see situation of a man that will not look for another wife, okay, when you're already in? And if his religion allows it, definitely he will go up to 4 wives and nothing to stop him. Then another thing is like the financial angle. Please, for every young lady out there, there's a need for you to have a good independence, such that you don't need to totally depend on a man, even though he may be the head of the home and you are joint heads together. But then you need also to supply, to do something. Once you are married, all the issue of being taken care of, your needs being met, being outings left and right, will have to what? To change, because your status have changed now from being a girlfriend to a married woman. And you won't have to see such things flowing again. So prepare your mind, the inevitable that you do not see. I will let the child to see it and let her make the choice. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. So Zainab, before you reply, we have a message from YouTube from Mandy B. My advice for this young lady is not to engage in polygamy, as it creates tension, jealousy, spread of diseases, unhappiness leading to mental health issues, and inheritance drama are also very common. Thank you very much, Mandy B. Your comment is like the summary of everything that we've said. You're just screaming,
I
don't
know.
do it. Do not do it. Don't do it. It's not like it's the summary of what Mr. Ayodeji said. If he's cheating on his wife to be with you, my dear, he will cheat on you to be with another person. It will just the food chain will just continue. So from his
Sure,
wife
sure.
to you, from you to another person, and can you withstand that? Because if you're a youth, then you would be in your, let's say, oh, you're old, you're in your late 30s. Are you sure you want to deal with an unfaithful man for the rest of your life? You want to always check his phone and say, is he cheating on me? Has he gone out again? Because you know that that's how you met him. He won't change because of you if he cannot change because of his wife. So Zainab, please reply, answer.
Okay, so I was going to reply what
Yes, reply
Mandy
the first
said.
question. Yes.
I don't like the fact that that is true. I don't deny the fact that what she said is true, but there is now a reality where there are women that actually get married and none of that actually, they don't live in the same compound. They probably live in a different country. And some people, they don't marry you based on the money that they have. They have made themselves, they are independent themselves. They can take care. Only thing they needed was just a crown on their head. And then they have their children, they go overseas, like they travel out of the country. They don't care about your inheritance, anything. All they wanted was just to get married, move out of the country. So like this whole scenario, there are people that don't care. They don't care whether they literally don't care whether you're cheating. All they want is the money. And people like when you ask in terms of people get married for money, that is true. It's a fact. And people that try to get married because of things, they are aware that this person cheats, this person does this, and they don't care. Like they literally don't care. Like you can cheat all you want. In fact, you are married to them and enjoy your money. It's as simple as that. So yeah, that is true. And I would like to also say that people that get married to marry people unknowingly. You guys know that
Say that
there are actually
again.
people that get married. There are people that get married to married man unknowingly.
Zainab, Zainab, we are
Do
going
you
to
know?
we are going to deal with that later. But this one, she knows. This sister in the Lord
Yeah,
knows that he's a
she
married man.
knows. But I'm just saying, like, those people that
Oh
get
yes,
married
oh
to
yes,
other
yes, yes.
people's
That's yes. Some
unknowingly,
people hide
it's
their
still the
marriage
same
and
thing.
pretend.
The fact still stands that you are still married to a married man, regardless. Whether you knew or you did not
But
know,
she didn't know.
you are still in the same. She didn't know, but people are not going to tell you that you didn't know. They're going to call you like second wife. Like people don't care about it. They say you are still married to somebody else's man. So you still fall in the same bracket. Jealousy is going to come after you. They're going to come after you based on inheritance, that kind of thing that Mandy B said. So the wife does not care whether like you knew or you did not know. She's going to come after you in three force. So you still fall in the same bracket as someone that knew and somebody that didn't know. Period. And I would just like to say that people that get married for money, that's the fact. There are people that do that. So yeah. And I wanted to say something that I like what Mr. Deniji is saying. He talked about the fact that you need to have a discussion with your child. You don't just say no. Like you need to explain why you shouldn't do this. Then you need to have a discussion with them on why they want to do it. Then offer your own advice. So I picked two things from him: have a discussion and advice. Because a child will still do what they want to do. But the fact that you already said your own, you already had a discussion with the child and your advice, that is a thing that I feel like parents need to like learn. Some people don't do that. I feel like they need to, yeah. So that's basically my own opinion on that. So like if you find yourself like as a youth, you are married to a married man, you need to ask yourself why. Why? And if you are contented with doing that, you are happy with him cheating on you. Because, like they said, it's not going to end there. You will continue doing it. So if you're happy with it, fine, fine, it's fine with you, but you definitely know that your parents will give you permission to do that kind of thing. Even though there are some parents that would. Parents don't have to say it, but like morally, you know that parents like they will say no. So if you do like your parents' permission does not matter to you. It's fine. You can go ahead with it, but you know what you're supposed to do. Don't as a youth, I'm just saying it to you that this is part. Your parents are telling you this kind of thing. There are going to be consequences for your actions.
Thank you. So, guys, it's almost time and it's almost coming to the end of the program. First, we'd like to apologize for starting today's program late. We had a bit of production issues and all that, but trust me, we are sorry. But before we end today's program,
I think the host is.
Okay, I think there is a bit of technical issue. So I would just like to say to Mr. Adeniji that what, fact, I know that the parents didn't give the child the permission to do this. What advice do you still want to tell you need to
can you
let
hear
youth
me?
know that
Yes,
what
yes.
he or she is about to do is is not morally
I do.
right. You know what
Well,
what advice?
the advice, I want to first comment and appreciate the comment sent in by Miss Mandy. And it's mental health is very, very important. And for the female folks, and that is not something that should be ignored totally. Having said that, the aspects of a child being counseled, in the midst of much counseling, there is safety. Okay. I would also want to speak from experience point of view. I said earlier on that I always advise young people not to learn from negative experience because it can be costly. Now, some of us
Mm,
as Africans, we have polygamous background, no doubt about that. And then some of us children, we grew up under situations where there were a lot of competition. There were lots of pressure from the women, and the man himself just had to abandon the house, only comes to sleep, and especially if the man is not the responsible type. Okay, so
mm,
we see situation where the children are going to be the one that will suffer for it. Now, I need to ask the young lady: is she ready for such situation where there will be competition between her children or her child and that of the other woman? Now, if she's ready for that, no problem. Then, where situations, just like I said earlier on, the man now decide after 2, 3 years to bring in another woman. Is she ready for that scenario? Will her mental health be able to take care? I mean, to take such and handle it, absorb it in. From my own experience, my sister, even though religious wise is allowed for her, but she was meant to be married to a northerner in Nigeria. And by the time she was taken home, introduced to the parents of the young man, who happens to be, from a royal family, told her point blank that she's good for marriage, but their family will not allow their son to marry a non-Hausa person, okay, on ethnic backing, that their son will need to first marry somebody else. You see, I know what that did to my sister, even as just finishing her youth service, serving the nation, ready for marriage, work, and things like that. It took her some years before she could recover from that. Now, she has not been married. She
mm,
was only rejected by the family. Now, the young lady now, is she ready to face circumstances? Because I don't know if it's an African, the setting that the in-laws, are they ready to accept her as a second wife? Is there no
mm,
any ethnic issue that was going to be a barrier to their relationship later on? Is it something that is acceptable to the society of the man himself? Because in African setting,
mm,
you don't only marry the man, you marry the family also. Even if we are educated and civilized as we have today, it still stands, especially in some ethnic group in the country. So my advice to the young lady is to weigh things, to look before leaping, because the cost that is going to be bared afterwards, after the smoochy, the moochie, and the lovey dovey of a thing, and the pressures that will come afterwards, the challenges, the competition, the setting, the rivalry settings that will be in in the home. Will the man be able to give equal attention? Will there be equity in the home? Equity in the sense that there will be no partiality. The love of the man will not be tilted towards giving attention to the first wife, okay, than to her. And if she is able to bear that, then, well, it's good to learn from experience. But I always say, don't do what you would not be able to come back and report having been counseled against such.
mm. So we've talked about like reasons you know, youth would actually youth would do this or want to do this. Is it like the right reason? Because I don't know, like morally, I just feel like as a youth, I just feel like there is no reason for wanting to, whether it's good or it's bad. It's just we've been discussing about reason why. Like, so do you think there is actually like a reason an acceptable reason that should a youth want to marry a married man.
Well, the way, the frequency at which the youth think and reason out things is different from those that are advanced and older, the parents. And like they say that the experience that an elderly person has gotten cannot be competed with by a youth. Okay. Now, the reasons we have examined earlier on, it could be peer pressure, it could be a trending thing, it could be that where society doesn't frown at it today, it's a welcome development, or it could be just, well, we are advanced, we want freedom. It could be as an issue of, well, it is our right. You see, we live in a society today where everybody is seeking the right. And the right attention, the advocacy for right is causing a lot of problem in society today. And people don't want to be judged. Okay? They say, don't judge me. And so that orientation, the young people are growing with it. Now, sometimes it is not judgment that is being given, but you being instructed and counseled so that you would not go the you not go in a way that at the end you come out with gory tales. Okay, so I personally would not, maybe due to the fact of my generation, would look at it as there should be a particular reason. But the young man might say, I have a right. The same way the hand robber has a right to do whatever profession he prefers. Now, it is a well-known fact that a wise woman uses her own, but the foolish one with her own hand destroys. Okay. Now, does she want to be in the class of wise women that build their home? Okay. Giving her all the pros and the cons, and trusting God or trusting that she's able to make the right judgment, to make the right decision. Okay, that she will not just look at it from the point of view of, I have a right. This is my fundamental human right. I can marry whosoever I choose to marry. You can't walk into the society and say an insane man to want to marry. You can't walk into a situation where you know this fellow. You see, there's something that trends amongst celebrities. They don't marry or they have baby mama. I want to ask such a child, I mean, such a young lady, is she ready to be a baby mama? Because that's one thing also that is trending today. Where, well, I don't need to marry. I can just hook up with a man, get my baby, I take care, I'm financially okay, and things like that. No, because there are people that because they have not looked before they leave, they have had to settle down for a single life against their own wish. Now, such a person, does she see herself in the next 3 5 years after the marriage to be a single parent? Will her mental health be able to carry that? And we should be able to come out of it. What about the child that will come out of such a union? Is the child going ready to have a half brother, a step brother, and then you have issues of custody of the child later on? Now, we need to avoid some things, nip them in the bud before they go out of hand. But be that as it may, like I said, as an adult, you can't force such a person. You only put the cards on the table and let her make the right choice. But it is always advisable to, if your family frowns at it, your community frowns at it, and your friends also perhaps do not give a go ahead because it's not something welcoming. For I don't even imagine it in this 21st century that we'll be thinking of a young lady wanting to play the second fiddle in her home. I don't think that is a 21st century thing.
Wow, wow, that's a long explanation, to the topic. So I would like to direct my answer to Victoria. What is your stand on this topic? What do you think about this topic? As a youth.
Um, I don't know.
Okay, yeah, I
She
think she had a little bit of technical issue. So when she gets back, she's going to tell us our personal stand on the topic. So moving forward, I would like to chip in something that I feel like women that have like they've seen life, they've seen experiences, shouldn't I don't know how to come up with this without sounding wrong, but I feel like there could be a reason, you know, that is acceptable for these women because like they obviously don't have they've experienced too much in life that they are tired and they feel that this is the only way out for me. Like I'm tired. I've been like for example, the example you made on um you know the whole marriage thing, the family accepting you thing, people have had experiences in that, kind of area and they're just like tired, they don't want to do this anymore. So anyone that comes next, whether they're married or not.
And my advice to
So yeah,
such
I would like to say that
situation.
that is like their personal experience.
Okay, my own
Okay.
advice to such situation
So yeah,
is
that's
well,
like
you see, there is this idea as a young man myself. I grew up to understand that there's always this orientation that there are more women in the world than men, and so if you don't get to to play to marry a second to be married as a second woman, when will you get a husband? And probably some of the eligible bachelors out there seems not to be ready. They just want to play, have fun, and things like that. A lot of ladies are under pressure. Now, frankly speaking, that could be a reason why. Well, it seems this man that is married is the only one giving commitment. You see, patience is a virtue, and it is a known fact that in patience we inherit our soul. Now, if we inherit our soul by being patient, it says, "Hope maketh not ashamed." And a hope does not disappoint. If it is true love would give you that which is rightly yours, that you don't need to be in competition for it. You don't need to struggle with another trying to share what is rightly yours. And so I would just
mm,
like to advise that if the young lady is one of those that believe that there is this pressure of there are more women in the world than men, which if we have to Google it, it may not necessarily be true. Okay. Then also knowing that, well, the marriageable age bachelors out there are not ready for a full-time commitment, then you see that the young ladies are actually under pressure. And no doubt we might begin to hear or see situations or scenarios where young ladies will want to go into such. But I would just like to advise that such young ladies need to wait. Okay. Being in your
mm,
late 20s doesn't make you to be too old to not want to wait. Even if you are in your early 30s, the right fellow that is meant for you, you see, there's a place of you being faithful in the ministry and being found committed. Okay, if I'm to use maybe a borrowed idea from the scriptures, Ruth, as a young lady, was found committed doing something with her hands. And from there, of course, as a widow, she come across being married to a Bethlehemite. Okay, so there is a place of patience. And that's an advice I would give to any young lady that may find herself under pressure, that the right fellow that is yours will come your way. In as much as you are a right vessel, you have kept yourself upright, and you have been morally sound, you have not dipped your hand into things that do not uh, give glory to your family, give glory to your personality and your dignity as a lady. Definitely the right man that is for you, even though it might take a little time, but it is better to be late than to enter a situation where you become a late. And then you want to also ask yourself the question, if the man is to go out into society and present there will be an official wife. And the second wife may not necessarily be the acceptable public wife. But I may just end up being play the second fiddle, be at the background, and nobody knows you to exist. You only exist with your husband, and that is all.
Yeah.
Okay, and so such a thing can be a very dangerous thing
Mental.
for a
Yeah.
woman. Yes, mental health is of importance. Thank you.
Victoria, I would like to ask you, what is your stand on this topic? What do you think about this topic? Do you think it's right? What advice do you have for this? As a youth, what would you like to say to you as a teacher? Okay, I think she's having a bit of technical issues. You have to unmute yourself, Victoria.
Yes. Okay, she's unmuted now.
Okay, Victoria, what do you think?
I
What's
didn't
your
get the
stand on
question.
it? Okay, what's your stand on the topic? Can you marry a youth asked, why my parents don't give me permission to marry a married man? So as a youth, what do you want to say back to this youth? What's your advice to her?
Unmute yourself.
Please unmute yourself.
I didn't hear the question.
Can you hear me? So I was saying that a youth asked a question, which is,
Can
why
anybody
are my
hear
parents
me?
not-
Yes,
We
I
can hear you.
We can hear you.
Yes, I didn't
hear
get the last question. The question that Zainab said.
Okay, so I said that the youth asked, why are my parents not giving me the permission to marry a married man? What's your stand on it? What do you think about the topic? Okay, I guess she's having like a bit of technical issues. She can't really hear us.
I've sent it as a chat to her. Maybe if you see it, she can
Okay.
answer it.
Okay. So I basically agree with Mr. Adeniji. With what he said so far, he has hit the nail on the head. Getting it, marrying a married man at this point in time is not feasible. Yes, because most people this time around, most of those people, or I don't know her personally, but most of them get into it for peer pressure, money, and the likes of them. So, getting married to a married man is not morally itself in most cultures. I know in mine they won't even let you like. It is actually it's a difficult concept. It's a difficult Nigerian concept. Allowing a single lady marry a married man, except maybe the Fulanis and the Hausas. But that really applies to mostly the Muslims. Yes.
Okay.
But is he an Igbo or a Yoruba or Efik that you want to marry a married man? It's not possible. More in some cases it's possible, but then look at the disadvantages of it. For example, I saw Mandy wrote mental health. Mental health is actually key because it's not, you have competition, yes, in a household. I'm sure everybody here has watched Chief Daddy, for example. That's the one thing we can relate to these days. Chief Daddy, how the wives were struggling for properties and every other thing. So it's a key thing to mental health. Can your mental health withstand it? If it can, fine, you can go ahead. But personally, I do not support it because youths of these days, most of them just rush into decisions. She actually needs to sit and then weigh her options. So that's where I stand right now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So if you're just joining this program, the question is, why are my parents not giving me the permission to marry a married man? And we definitely heard from Mr. Deniji and Victoria. We've heard from the parents and the youth on their stand on this kind of topic. So definitely, if you want to, if you feel like if you have a need to do that, as a parent, there should be discussions between you and your child. make her understand why she shouldn't, that there's consequences to this kind of action.
Uh, I think she's having a bit of network issue there. And what she's just trying to reiterate are just some of the points that have been made thus far. And that is the need for the child and the parents to really sit down and be able to iron out the rough edges and try to know what exactly would.
And Mandy, you really want to start like a
Okay,
polygamous.
I think she's coming up now. Mm, the network. So try to iron out the rough edges and try to see how, what is her mindset, what is making her to go that toy that line, and try to see how they can weigh things out. Okay, she's back. Let's. I would like to hand over back to her.
Sorry, there was a
Yeah.
bit of technical issue. So what I was saying that there has been like a recap of, why you shouldn't do this, that there are consequences to your actions as a youth and as a parent. You should be able to have a discussion with your child and advise. And I like the fact that Mr. Deniji wasn't partial on the topic. He wasn't biased. He basically sets, the facts, and also Victoria as well, that facts to this topic, the examples, that even the examples that we can relate to as the movie that she has talked about. So if you're just joining the show, this is the topic we're discussing, and don't forget to like, subscribe, share with everybody. They need to know about this topic. Everyone literally needs to know, and keep the comments coming in. Thanks for the comments. I see the comments, everything. Thank you so much for giving us a different perspective to this topic. I just feel like it wasn't much of the cliche discussion, which is don't marry a married man. But like there are examples, Mr. Deniji gave us reasons why, we shouldn't do this kind of things, consequences and all of that. And we definitely went to the streets to ask questions, and that will be uploaded later on the YouTube channel. You need to hear what the people on the street have to say, what's on the street. You want to hear the parents' opinions on this kind of topic. So yeah, and the fact that the parents are giving you, and this is most of the things he said, people on the streets actually like they agreed with everything that he said. And the fact that the youth, because we are youth, doesn't mean like we have the same ideology basically. And I like the fact that it wasn't looking like, oh, because we are youth, we definitely support this type of act. There are some acts that you clearly know that you just have to go against, even though you are youth, doesn't mean that you have to support this kind of thing. So I like the fact that there are different dimensions, different opinions to this kind of topic. Thank you for, explaining to the. I just hope that by the time she sees this, she has reasons to think why she shouldn't do this. Comments from people, and all of that. Thank you so much. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. So thank you so much for joining the show, Mr. Adeniji. Thank you, Victoria. So, Mr. Adeniji, do you have like a parting word for, the youth, parents as well? Anything you'd like to say to close the show?
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate once again being on the show today and the privilege being given. And on the topic, I also want to appreciate all the others that have contributed, particularly Ms. Victoria, and also your person, Ms. Zainab, and the host, Ade Kumbi also. Okay. And the parting notes, let the youth know that they one day are going to be parents, and whatever mistakes parents have made as they share experiences, you wouldn't want to make such, because it's good to learn from the mistakes of others and try to avoid it. But when it becomes your own experience, it becomes so difficult. And especially if you have to remember that, oh, I was told, I was warned, I was asked to look before limping, but I heeded not because of probably infatuation, because of lust, because of distractions left and right, or society demands. But at the end of the day, everybody will abandon you, and you still have to be the one that will go through whatever the pains. And there are gains also, you'll be the one to gain it. But it's always good in the midst of much counseling, There should be safety. So parents and youth, there's need to iron out rough edges and try to see how they can meet at at a particular point where everybody will be on the safe side. God bless you.
Okay, so this is where we part ways. We'll definitely see you next week. The same time, don't forget to subscribe and share. And if you're not able to watch some of the episodes, you can definitely go back to our YouTube channel, Podium International TV on YouTube. See you next time. Bye.
lọ́jọ́kọ́jọ́ làbẹ̀wò kúkú dùkú lóko Podium International wọ́n ti wà tipẹ́tipẹ́ látìgbà tí wọ́n ti ń bàbọ̀ wọn ò fìgbà kan tẹ́rì o wọ́n ti wá ṣe bẹ̀bẹ̀ wọ́n ti gbé bẹ̀bẹ̀ dé Podium Cinema ni wọ́n tún gbé dé Podium Cinema lórí YouTube ẹ fọ́lọ̀ wọn ká ẹ láìkì wọn ká ẹ subscribe ibẹ̀ lẹ́tì mọ̀ wọ àwọn àjá àbálẹ̀ fíìmù ẹ̀dọ̀kí fíìmù tó léfò gan tààrà Podium Cinema mo bẹ́rí fún yín fíìmù mẹ́sàn-án ọ̀tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀ ni wọ́n kó jáde o àwọn gbàǹkọ́gbé fíìmù èkíní májẹ̀mú ẹ̀gbọ́n èkejì my word ẹ̀kẹta ọmọ ẹni ẹ̀kẹrin àlàmú èkó ẹ̀karùn-ún àìmọ̀ ṣẹ̀wárí pé nǹkan kì í ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ràgó ó kọjá bẹ́ẹ̀ eléyìí lẹ́ti kẹjù èdè Yorùbá ni wọ́n fi ṣe àwọn fíìmù yìí ẹlẹ́ẹ̀kẹfà sẹ́ẹ̀kẹsàn-án èdè òyìnbó ni wọ́n kọ́ ẹ̀kẹfà tẹ́mà èkeje the casting ẹ̀kẹjọ M1 the detective ẹ̀kẹsàn 100 M1 the detective at 100 orí síríìsì lẹ́fì máa wò ó ìyẹn dàgbéléwò nìyẹn Podium International Podium Cinema ẹ fọ́lọ̀ wọn ká ẹ láìkì wọn lórí YouTube wọ́n wà lórí Facebook wọ́n wà lórí Instagram Podium Cinema ó ti dọbẹ̀ ẹ subscribe.